Hey y'all, what's up? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Balance. I was over here thinking before I started recording, I was like, how many episodes has it been? And I don't even know, but I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. I still love what I'm doing. I still have a passion for it, and I'm just going to keep going and keep pushing. And I just want to thank all of you who tune in every week or whenever you can and just catch up, and those of you who just give it a chance. And I really thank you for supporting my work, for supporting my art and my heart, because this is what I'm using to fuel this and to do this every week. So I just want to thank you guys so much, because I wouldn't be where I'm at without you. And am I where exactly I want to be? No, but I feel like I'm finally given an opportunity to use my voice, and there's people out here listening to me, and I've been told that my work helps others, and that's just all that I can ask for. And I just really hope to take it to new heights when I can. But anyways, again, thank you guys, and I want to remind you guys to please put in a review on iTunes, rate it, review it, retweet on your personal pages. Make sure you're following my podcast page on Insta and Twitter at _balance_pod. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump into this week. So I'm going to start off with Jesse Williams. So Jesse Williams is apparently producing a movie about Emmett Till. And he thought it was a smart idea. He deleted his tweet since, but he thought it was a smart idea to advertise his new movie by using the Nike campaign, the Just Do It thing that they used for Colin Kaepernick. He thought it'd be a great idea to advertise like that. So he had a picture of Emmett Till's grieving, crying, heartbroken, distressed mother next to his casket, talking about, the whole thing about do what you believe, what you stand, to stand for whatever you believe in, no matter what you have to sacrifice. Essentially that, the whole thing. But as people pointed out, she didn't sacrifice shit. Her son was brutally, heinously murdered, and I still stare at that picture to this day because his face was so messed up. I don't know how you can recognize that as your child. Dental records, all this testing that they can do forensically, but just how can you look at that, what they made him into, and that's your son, and the strength that it takes to look at your son like that and to put him out there to the world, that strength to have an open casket funeral, to make a change, to put out there this hideous act of racism, that is one strong woman. And to be reduced to a meme, to be reduced to a campaign for a movie, but using a campaign that was devised by a shoe company, I don't understand what he was thinking. And it's he's just been downhill for forever, and it's amazing because we were giving him all this props when he gave his BET Awards speech, which I will still say, though he's been showing his ass and he's disrespected his black queen since, though he praised her in his speech for what it was great, and it still means the world, and it still says what needed to be said, even though it came from him. But I don't understand what he was going for there, and he deserves all the backlash he's getting on Twitter, and he needs to get his high yellow self together. So there's my little take on him. And so I also wanted to talk about a little bit of my little black excellence. And so that's LeBron James. He's doing Space Jam 2, which everyone knows about. And I just want to say, this is probably hella unpopular, but I was never a Space Jam fan. I maybe seen it 1 to 2 times, and it just wasn't it for me. I have no memories attached to it. I have no feelings attached to it. I have nothing attached to it. I don't even really remember it that much. I remember bits and pieces. When I say bits and pieces, I mean micro, level pieces. But I understand how important this is to black people and the culture. And LeBron James is doing great things out here, so I'm happy for him and this moment that he's having. And then, Jennifer Lewis, the grandmother in Blackish, she plays Anthony Anderson's mother. She's also played Tina Turner's mother in What's Love Got to Do with It. She's had so many roles in so many things that, as she calls herself in her book, she is the mother of Black Hollywood. And I also recommend, especially if you suffer from any kind of mental health thing, depression, bipolar disorder, I highly recommend reading her book. It kind of draws attention to certain things that you might go through, and then it offers just a ray of hope. And it's just great to have someone who identifies with your struggles. And maybe it can inspire some of you who are thinking that you might be suffering from these issues to go and get help. Because I cannot stress how important it is to be proactive about your mental health, because mental health matters. And I will say that forever. In a day, as long as I'm still breathing, I will be campaigning for mental health. We have to keep talking about it. We have to keep discussing it. And, to those who share your struggles, thank you. Like I try to do, I try to be open about my story. And to those who aren't there yet, still thank you. If you're fighting, if you're trying, that's all that matters. So, just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, so to Jennifer Lewis, I just want to say thank you for wearing your Nike outfit and for your brazen, bold support at the Emmys for Colin Kaepernick and what he stands for, and just putting yourself out there like that. Love it, and I love her. She is an amazing person. So also I want to talk about another amazing person, Beyonce. So she has reunited with both LaToya and Latavia, and that's just huge. Like, if you don't know who LaToya and Latavia are, I just don't even know what to say, but they are the original 2 members of DC4, when Destiny's Child was composed of 4 members, Beyonce, Kelly, and those 2. And there was this huge falling out, and they had the vocals for Say My Name, but they weren't even allowed to be in the video. That's when they put Michelle and I think Farrah, who couldn't get her luggage, they were in the video. So the whole reuniting with both of them, especially because she's kind of reunited with LaToya a little bit over the years, maybe not in photos, but there's been like that kind of like sense of like they're cool, but it wasn't really sure Latavia. But it's just beautiful, and it's just beautiful to see the woman that Beyonce's maturing into and becoming. And you can just see from her shows, from her clips, just how she's living her life. She's more comfortable with herself and who she is as a woman, who she is as a wife, who she is as a mother, and just an individual in larger society. And this everything is love, like she means that everything is love. Like she's out here, she's about healing, and I think that's just so important. Healing, whether it's healing risks with people or healing with your marriage, and I'll just leave my little comments about that to decide, but just healing, and especially personal healing from within. And it's beautiful seeing her path of self-discovery and just growing into a woman, and I'm just hoping that I have that same level of growth into the woman that I want to become, which is different than the woman she is, but she's amazing nonetheless. But I just hope to have that same type of journey where I just become this woman that I'm so proud of, and I have this journey that I'm so proud of, and that I just grow immensely as a person, and that if I do become a mother, if I do become a wife, that I can just be this amazing woman in this capacity that I choose to be. I want to be this amazing woman in my career and whatever I pursue. The growth, man. Like, that's what I'm looking for in life. Growth, becoming. Like, I'm excited about what I'm becoming. I turned 25 on Friday, so this is another reason why you should help me promote my show. How to put a little dig in there. But I'm coming to 25, and that's getting to an age where you're starting to become like grown. And even though Beyonce spoke to how, when she was in her 20s, she was still trying to please everyone, and I'm trying to break out of that mode earlier. Like, I'm trying to do for myself, trying to live more for myself, not society, not whomever, trying to please and live for Kristen, for me. So, and I'm also excited for 30s, and people are always like, women are always scared of their 30s, whether it's because they're unmarried or they don't have kids, or just because society's like kind of wants to cast you away at 30, and especially 40. But I'm excited for when I turn 30, and I'm excited, even up to 35, and I think even still I'll be excited when I turn 40. Like, just the levels of growth and self-discovery and the people that you become, like, you're in a constant space of evolving, and I'm excited to see where I go. I'm excited to see who I become, and I've said it time and time again in this like little bit, but it's just so true. And also today, speaking of women, I don't know, I know that Bill Cosby had his sentencing hearing, and as you know, he was convicted, rightfully so. And I know that many black men feel like he was targeted because he's a black man, and you know what, because his blackness, yeah, that makes him more likely to be subject to judicial matters in the courts. And maybe that is another reason that they really wanted to go after him and get him. But also, at the end of the day, he did what he did. And he basically admitted it. But right now, he hasn't gotten a sentence yet. Because, let's see. I'm going to open it up. Let's see. As far as I know, he hasn't been sentenced yet. So court will resume tomorrow. So he hasn't been sentenced yet. But he's 81 years old. And he faces up to 10 years in prison on each count. And he was found guilty in April of 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault for drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Costan. And what I will say is, like, again, he did it. And it's like, you have to, sometimes men need to put their maleness aside and think about women and what they go through and what they suffer. And I understand, like, I, as a person, I don't, like, I've been outspoken roughly about my sexual assault, and one of my things was I did not want to tear down another black man, and nobody in the black community wants to see one of their people go down. But when you commit heinous acts, you have to pay for it, and you can't just get this super benefit of the doubt just because they're a person of color. He did what he did. He did it to numerous women, and he deserves to pay for it, 81 years old or not. He's 81 years old, and he's been doing it for how many decades that he's gotten away with it. So he's long past due for justice. He's long past due to pay. And I just really, like, there's this hashtag believe victims. At least I saw it from Debbie Allen. And if you don't know who she is, I'm not even going to bother explaining. And that you're taking an L in your life by not knowing who she is. But believe women. Be more willing to believe women. Yes, there are women who lie about their experiences, but again, the percentages and the rates of women who do so are few. Be more willing to believe. Be more willing to listen to their stories. And you would be surprised when people say, like, well, why'd you wait so long? If more people believe their stories, if more people were willing to listen, if more justice was delivered, you would hear about them probably faster once people work through the trauma of what happened. Because that's another thing. It's been, I would say 2013, so it's been almost, it hasn't happened yet, the anniversary, but it's going on 5 years, and I'm still working through it. I still can't wholly talk about it for long. I'm still having tears when I talk about it in therapy. There's so much to work through. There's so many reasons of why, like the hashtag why I didn't report. Maybe you read my tweets about it, maybe you didn't. Maybe you should go through other people. Try to look beyond your own purview. And that's my thing about that I just really want to get out there to men and even to other women, because other women, we can tear each other down so much and not be there for each other so much. So this isn't just directed towards men, this is also directed towards women, because we always fall on the sword for black men and we always want to cape for black men, and so sometimes that manifests in our own self-hate in terms of our womanhood. So just, again, be there, be willing to listen, be willing to believe. And kind of wrapping up a little bit of conversational topics, Botham Jean, I want to talk about the idea, like, just from a legal standpoint, like, how in the world can you justify getting a search warrant for a murdered victim? Because he was murdered. He was in his own home, minding his own business, doing nothing, when a deranged, disturbed, racist person shows up to his door to kill him, because that was the intention. So it was murder. It was an intentional thing. There's no reason for her, and there's just no logical way that she could think that was her place. A whole floor up. I mean, the lights off. Why don't you turn the lights on? I mean, it's just so many different factors you could think of. So I don't understand why there was a search warrant. I understand, like, you're trying to vilify him because he's black, and you're trying to help this white woman, because that's another thing. Like, white women are always seen as these innocent damsels in distress, and I hope black men realize more and more. You should realize with Emmett Till, but even with this, like, white women are not your friends. I mean, in the election, white women are not your friends. Like, I mean, there's so many times that white women show that they're not your friends, and I have nothing against white women. This is just fact. This is just basis in what's going on in reality. Like, I have plenty, well, I won't say I have plenty, but there are white women I know who are cool people. Like, you know, we can chit chat or whatever, but facts are facts. Circumstances are circumstances. Like, you have to be real, and that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what I always believe in doing when I speak or whatever I do. So, like, people need to realize they're not your friends. Like, they can be just as horrendous to you as anyone else. And so they're trying to like save this damsel in distress, and they're vilifying an innocent black man as they always do, and it drives me crazy. Like, his whatever is in his apartment has no bearing. Search warrants are for criminals when you're trying to find something to prove them guilty of something. When you're trying to find evidence, there is nothing to find because he did not do anything. The only thing that happened to him was him being murdered. So now, like, search warrants are being issued for people who are murdered. Like, we're really out here building criminals out of victims. Like, it blows my mind. Weed or not, like, nothing matters. There should not have been a search warrant issued, and I really want to see the legal basis. Why? I need to see, like, what is a legal explanation and validity of getting a search warrant for someone who had nothing to do with why they were murdered, who were not engaged in any criminal activity, nothing. Like, I want to see, like, show me the receipt, show me the reasoning behind it, because I don't see it. And again, the whole weed thing, like, I want to know about her. Tell me more about her. Drag this woman. Vilify this woman. That's what needs to happen to Miss Amber. Okay? But I'm going to move on from that. And so I want to discuss two things before we take a break. When we come back from the break, I'll discuss Insecure. And the reason we're taking a break is because I haven't finished watching it yet. So that's the whole thing going on with that. So I want to talk about, first I'll talk about Nivea. And I watched her 15-minute interview that was on BET.com, and I do recommend that people watch it. And I do agree with some comments that people said, yeah, she's clearly on something. I think she's drunk and on something. But she's also hurt. And she didn't speak on it much, but whoever was her manager when she was young at like 14 or whatever, he did some things to her that pained her, like caused pain in her, and you could see it in her eyes, and you could see her wipe her tears a little bit. And that was before she even started boohoo crying at the end about other things. And so it was just kind of, that was sad, and I just wonder what all she's been through. It's also sad seeing how much she's had to sacrifice, and I hate that women are always, because, you know, Lil Wayne and Dream are out here flourishing, they're living life, they're not made to choose. Women always have to choose, and, you know, they can't have it all, and I don't really think there's such a thing as having it all, but they just always have to choose. Like, why does she have to choose between her kids and her career? And it sucks that she has two, especially, I mean, Lil Wayne is still sort of prominent. Everybody's excited for the Carter 5, I think is what it's called. Like, I'm lost with numbers, but I think it's the Carter 5. And everybody's so hyped about it. And, you know, again, you have The Dream, who's a great songwriter and producer, and then you have Lil Wayne, like, and then she said they won't help her. And it's like, she's the mother of your children. Like, that alone should give, like, a certain level of respect. And she speaks so highly of them, including The Dream's new wife, giving her props for helping her and being there for her. So why can't y'all help her with her musical aspirations? If she doesn't hit, she doesn't hit, but you should at least be there to help her and support her. Like, I mean, there was a friendship there. There was a reason y'all connected. I mean, there's just so many different things that play a part. And it's sad that they don't want to help her. And it's sad that she had to sacrifice, but I do love how she speaks about our children and the love that she has for her children. And I do agree with what she says about the whole thing and timing. Maybe it wasn't her time, but maybe it will come. And I see she's working on music again. And I just wish her nothing but the best. Like, I'm really out here rooting for her. And she did have some bobs. Like that song, Okay? Like, yes. Like, that was everything. Don't Mess With My Man. My little elementary school ass really swore I had a man that I was ready to fight and put hands on over. Like, classics. She really could have been something. And it was interesting that she spoke on Sierra, who sort of took her place. And I saw some people in the comments on Twitter, and I agree. They always have to juxtapose these women together, and it's either or. Like Tierra Marie and Rihanna, it had to be Rihanna. And I see it was Nivea Sierra, and it had to be Sierra. And it's like, there shouldn't be that dichotomy. And that's why Nicki Minaj is so mad, because Nicki Minaj has had the game for so long, and she feels like she should be the only black woman out here, the only black female rapper out here. And she's threatening. And it shouldn't even, the thing is, while we drag her, and I drag her often, there's also the idea that we foster that. We put that culture out there that can only be one on top. We like the comparison started when Cardi started, when whoever started. There's always that comparison. There was comparisons with Kim and Nicki, and granted, yeah, she was like copying Kim's looks and stuff like that. But we foster this environment, just like when people say, "Why little Kim got all this surgery?" It's the environment fostered, like the way she was treated by men and like abuse and psychological, verbal abuse. All these things, we foster these environments that allow these things that we drag or talk shit about to happen. They don't just appear out of nowhere, and I think that's important to mention. And so I'm just gonna move on from that. I just really hope everyone checks it out, and I wish Nivea the best. Also, I wanted to talk about Napoli Ever After on Netflix. So there were definitely cringeworthy moments, like all those tripping and falling moments. It was just so unorganic, and it was just so cliche. I also didn't like her dancing moment. Like, what was that? Like, I just expected more from Sanaa, and I expected more just as a black woman. I just expected more. And I feel like the movie just ended abruptly, and I would say in the sense that it wasn't predictable, in the sense I thought, oh, she's gonna get with the dude that runs the salon. She didn't. So that was, kind of refreshing to not have that level of predictability. And I do see the hot tip things in there when it's talking about, like, the blade or whatever, did it feel the when she was like trimming her hair, cutting all off, did it feel like, Harriet Tubman and freedom, like cue Nicki Minaj yelling to freedom here, like, that was very like cringe-worthy and very but I will say, while people were dogging it in so many ways, I did connect, because when I was younger, I always tied my sense of self and to my hair. I mean, my worth, my looks, I tied so much of me to my hair. And I had really long hair back when it was relaxed. Like, super long, like past mid back, like super long hair. And when, those Facebook games everybody used to do when they were younger, like when the Facebook memories pop up, a lot of people comment on my hair. Like, a lot of people saw my hair, but they didn't see me, And so I think I didn't really have a sense of self. I saw my hair because that's what others saw, and my reflection of me was just what other people saw. I didn't have my own sense. I didn't have my own views of myself. And when I went natural, it was so many things. Like, again, I said it, and it's like low-key embarrassing, but I'm a stan, so I don't care. I was inspired when Beyonce said, like, no baby hair and afros. That inspired me to go natural, And it was also since, like, my hair was damaged from all the dyeing I did, which when I was really going through things. They say when women dye their hair when they're going through shit, and like, I first dyed my hair, I think after my assault. I then continuously dyed my hair like junior and senior year, when I was really hitting the crux of whatever's going on with my mental health. Like, so my hair was damaged, so that also inspired it. And then I just also wanted to separate myself from my hair and have my own sense of identity and self. Like, when she was worried about the rain, or when she was worried about getting in the pool, I can't swim anyway, but still the water like made me nervous. Like, all these things are true. It's what we went through, and it's what we identify. And I know people say they want to see different stories, but these are also true stories that people went through. And it was my life, and I did find my sense of self after I cut my hair. Like, I'm starting to form more of a basis of who I am, and wearing my hair natural in a white town that I live in, and working in a really, really predominantly white space. I've really learned not to care about what people think, and I've really learned to love myself more, and I just feel like it was a start of me really owning who I am, and me figuring out who I am, which of course, like I said, will forever change and evolve as I get older and grow and learn and experience more. So, I mean, for that, like, I liked it when it came to that, and there were definitely problematic areas, and I felt like it could have been longer, but, I would give it like a C. It definitely could have been tweaked, and, but that's my hot take on it. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Hey y'all, welcome back. So I didn't have too much to say about Insecure this week. I did enjoy the show, but I don't really have too much I want to add about it. But I will say that I often had the dream about, like, the teeth falling out. Like, that happens all the time. Sometimes it's all of my teeth, sometimes it's just like a couple of them. But I just thought that it would be interesting just to kind of see, like, what do those dreams mean? Because, I mean, I'm the type where I'll Google every single dream I have. Like, I have dreams about sometimes driving on a road, and then all of a sudden the road just turns black, pitch black, can't see nothing. but I'm like the type, again, like I said, who will Google everything. So I Googled it, and then here are some things that it said. So negative meanings associated with your teeth falling out: insecurities, especially about personal loss; anxiety about sexual experiences; a compromise that's costly to you; life changes and growing pains; and fear of becoming older. Some positive things are signs of personal expansion, a wish or need to nurture yourself more carefully, an invitation to explore feelings of loss and personal growth, a call to look at your support system, which is interesting, and it can also be a sign of renewal and rebirth. So I thought that was interesting. And then this other article I was reading, it said that, like, you can be struggling with an inferiority complex. You could be worried about saying the wrong thing. You could be feeling insecure. And again, I also said the whole thing about, like, the fear of getting older, which I kind of wanted to talk about in my last episode. It's just like we have this obsession with being young and just fear of being old. Like, we were always talking about Black Don't Crack, or talking about how Angela Bassett was, she's in her 30s, but what if she did look like she's in her 60s? I mean, that's okay. Aging is okay. Like, I mean, it's a sign of growth. It's a sign of experience. It's a sign of life. You've been through things. You've been here. You've accumulated. You've grown. So why do we fear it so much? I mean, of course, it's, standards of beauty and all these different things and mechanisms playing a part. But in general, like, we kind of need to move away from that, Also, it's like, do you have, like, a big decision coming up? So that's another thing. Or having trouble expressing yourself. That's another reason. So I thought that I would just mention those. So I related with this episode so much, in the sense that I felt Issa, like, with the last guy I dealt with, like, I still have feelings, not gonna lie. And just in general, like, I mean, this last 2 going on 3 years that it's been since we've, like, truly fallen off with each other, it's been a lot of back and forth, but it's always been, like, even when he ghosted me for a period, and I'll always be checking my phone. And that's another reason why I like my phone on silent, because I don't like hearing noises, because it just kind of triggers me to that time in my life where he ghosted me, and I was always checking my phone every time I hear it ring, or a text, or a snap come in, or Instagram comment. Like, Issa, just every time something, I was just hoping it would tie back in to him, or it would be from him. And I just, again, like, it's childish shit. Like, I mean, if someone's being negative towards you, you don't owe them explanation. You can bounce. But if someone hasn't done any wrong towards you, you owe them some type of explanation. Just ghosting on them just isn't right. It's just not a good thing to do. But we'll see what happens with Nathan and what's the true reason. But I don't believe, even if he's not like a whole fuckboy, I do believe that he's still not for Issa long term. And I'm not saying that Lawrence is either, or Daniel, or any of them, but Nathan really just seems like a fling, excitement, moment that she needed for her transformation type of thing. But when she, like, popped up at his house and exploring around, like, I ain't go that far. But I will say, and it's like, well, I look back now, and that's when, like, Molly was saying, like, these niggas don't care about you, they'll have you acting outside of yourself. And it's so true, because, like, he had a period of ghosting me, and so I got tired. Like, one day I texted him and he didn't text me back, and it was just, I've been dealing with so much, the ghosting and then the random popping back and stuff, and I just so fed up. So he didn't text me back. And so first of all, it was a day, it might have been a weekend, I think, so no school, whatever. But I woke up early that morning. I knew he had to be at work. I knew when his shift started. So I got my ass up out the bed on a day off, on a weekend, combed my hair, maybe even flat ironed it, because I was still relaxed then. I don't even know. So I got ready, got fully dressed, whole outfit, got in my car, and you would think, like, maybe I would snap into, like, this is not a good choice, a decision to make, but I didn't. Started the engine, everything, drove all the way to his job, parked the car, got out, walked in, was like, yo, I'm looking for so-and-so. That's when I was like, oh shit. Girl, this is crazy. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you letting him, like, drive you to these lengths? Like, if the nigga don't text you, if the nigga, he ghosts on you, just let that nigga go. Like, but I did it. And so, like, I mean, I drove back home. But then he texted me, he's like, well, if he was going to drive all the way up here, you might as well speak. So I literally got back in my car and drove all the way back there. Luckily, he only lived 10 minutes from where I stayed at, or where he worked, only 10 minutes from where I stayed at. So it wasn't like a huge waste of gas. And you had to go slow on the roads anyways. So it worked out. But I just related so much to this episode in so many ways. And for Molly, I hope she knew she was gonna make an enemy by like jumping ahead of him. And I understand her wanting to be a star and her wanting to make her own mark, and it all makes sense, but you have to use strategy. You have to be strategic in your moves. She's already isolated the women, so now she's pissed off Torian. So it's just like she's created 2 enemies, or 3 enemies, because it's like 2 of the girls. So she's created 3 enemies in a place she hasn't even been in that long. Like, you have to watch your moves. And if you take anything away from it, it's watch your moves. So anyway, I want to say to you guys, thank you for listening. Please share it. Please review it. All my usual jargon. Make sure that you follow me on the podcast page, on the Insta and the Twitter. And I want to say my birthday's Friday, so you should definitely listen. I said it already and I'm saying it again. But yes, and I'm turning 25, so it's going to be lit. Yes. Libra season out. Bye.